show. A lot of moving parts here, folks. I was going to say sorry for the late start, but I'm pretty much just a minute off. Not bad. Cleaning up spills, trying to find my water. But we're ready to go. Thank you, Rhett. Hope you have a nice weekend. Hope you have fun with your girl, Kat. Very attractive woman. Very happy for Rhett. Welcome to the Hummel Show. I'll be with you for the next, I always say about an hour, but then I just have too much fun. I guess I just love listening to the sound of my own voice, I suppose. But I will take calls today, 813-90 Bubba, so you can tell me what a piece of shit I am for some things I may or may not have said. It's always a surprise to find out what makes people tick. And again, I will reiterate what I said yesterday about, people on the right getting mad with you versus people on the left, or people who are more conservative versus liberal. I understand everybody has their things that upset them, offend them, and I don't get it, actually. I was going to say I get it, but actually I don't understand it. I don't understand it because it's not personal, right? I've never been offended in my life by someone saying something about a group of people I happen to belong to by virtue of my beliefs or my political affiliation or my gender or the gender I identify as or whatever, my immigrant status. I've never been upset by, especially a stranger saying things about, if so, even, I feel like the obvious one is like the Jew thing, because that's like the most minority thing, I guess, about me, because there's not very many Jews out there, and they don't have there's a long history of people not liking Jews, so people are really sensitive about it, and that makes sense to me. But when people come out and they say things like Kanye West or any sort of Nick Cannon, I remember said a few things about Jewish people. I believe there was a woman, I think it was Cuny. I don't know if it's like Sunni, whatever. Sunni, I don't know. Valedictorian Muslim woman comes out. I didn't actually hear it, but secondhand, it sounds like she had some choice things to say about Israel and the Jews. For her valedictorian speech, which is an odd place to make a political statement, but is it really? Because, you got the spotlight. Why not use it? But when people say things about a group that I belong to, let's just say Jewish people, I don't care. I don't know. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't change my physiology at all. It doesn't increase the cortisol in my blood. I just go, yeah, hey, we're not for everybody, I guess. I don't know. The only time I can remember being offended, and it's been a while, is when someone has said something about Anna Hummel. When someone says, you are like this, like when Seth called me career lazy, that hurt my feelings, and I was offended. But that makes sense, because that's not just a blind, like, oh, women are dumb. I hear that shit all the time from my boyfriend. No, I'm kidding. Women are dumb, or women belong in the kitchen. You know who I work with, please. I work with Bubba, Dan. I hear you hear what they say on the air. It's a lot worse when they don't have a microphone in front of them. And I don't care, because they're allowed to have those thoughts. It doesn't offend me. It doesn't mean that I have to fall into that group of whatever. It doesn't bother me. I don't know. And oftentimes, stereotypes are kind of rooted in reality, in truth. So I just laugh it off. I go, yeah, we belong in the kitchen. Yeah, our brains are smaller. Whatever. Like, it takes all the wind out of someone's sail when you just, like, go along with it. And it's like, sometimes it's in jest. Sometimes it's like, I'm 50% joking, and I really don't care. And I actually really like the fact that people feel comfortable saying whatever the fuck in front of me without even worrying, without even blinking an eye that it's going to offend me or upset me. But the only thing that ever really has offended me is someone like saying, Anna, you are X or Y or whatever. Had an old roommate that I lived with in Michigan. We were like the odd couple. We did not date. It was a man. He was from the Indian subcontinent, and I didn't know anybody when I moved to Michigan. Much like I didn't know anybody when I moved to Florida, and I lived with Chinese refugees. It was a similar situation in Michigan, where when I moved to Michigan, I connected with someone on the online Facebook group of my cohort at grad school. So it's like, all right, we're all, we were the inaugural evolutionary psychology class of this one program at Oakland University. And so we kind of started a Facebook group and started chatting. And many, many, many people in that cohort were coming from out of state. So we didn't know anything about Michigan, anything about Detroit, where to live, who to live with. Most of us were not getting stipends from the university, so we needed affordable living, et cetera, et cetera. So we connected that way, and I ended up living with this guy who I honestly haven't thought about in a decade. It ended very poorly, but the first year and a half was phenomenal. He was from India. I had a lot of respect for him. He really did his best to try to assimilate the best that he could, showing reverence and respect for his host country. And he had been here for a few years, but it's funny, even the way he spoke English, he realized when he first moved here, because he spoke English fluently when he moved to the States. He went to Ball University originally for his master's, and then was doing his PhD at Oakland University. So we shacked up, not in a sexual way, and he's like, yeah, I speak a lot differently than I used to when I first moved here. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, when I first moved here, I would speak English the way they taught it in India with a heavy accent. And he realized that nobody could understand him. So he started to relearn how to say English words with an American accent. And he did a phenomenal job. And so he knew that would help make him more successful. And it certainly did, because he was going to have to do a lot of public speaking things, being a PhD student, yada, yada, yada. So anyways, this guy said some hurtful things on his way out, something, because I had told him some things about my situation where, I didn't get into all the grad schools I'd applied to because I kind of fucked around after my undergrad. Most of the time people just slip right into grad school. I did not. I fucked around for about 3 years. Went overseas, went bartended, did things that I think I would tell any young person to do. Go see some shit. Go on a plane, and it's with a one-way ticket, and you don't know where you're going to end up. You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know what adventures you're going to have. Sometimes life is best lived when it's unplanned. I wouldn't say that for all of your life, but there is a critical, at least this is the way I do it. I'm not going to say this is how everybody should do it, but there's this beautiful window of time, especially after college, where no one really expects anything from you. Oh, you're 21, you're 22, you work at, I don't know, Abercrombie. Nah, it's like a 16-year-old thing. You work at Starbucks or whatever. No one cares. No one expects anything from you at that age. And then about 25, 26, the tone changes and people are like, what's your plan? And that was very uncomfortable. That was an uncomfortable shift from about 24 to 25. It was like, okay, it's not cute anymore. Seriously, what are you doing? But that 21 to 24 year range, you can fuck around and society doesn't hate you for it. You're supposed to be doing those things. So I was just really lucky, and that coincided when I decided to do those things. And I just fucked off and went to a foreign country and lived as an expat and did fun things and met cool people and had fun adventures. And that didn't really serve me when I was applying to grad school, because they're like, what did you do with the last 3.5 years of your life? And I'm like, tried drugs, smoked weed, left the country to bartend. That's not stuff that serves you well when you're trying to apply to grad school, but makes you, the individual, rich in many other ways. Adapting to a new environment, making friends. Making friends as an adult is next level because it's weird. And college, it's kind of like just baked into the experience. You live with new people. You meet people on your floor. You meet people in your class. You meet people in your clubs and the hobbies that you have at the gym, whatever. It's just kind of baked into the experience. But when you have to go into the real world where you don't have school and you don't know anybody and I had like a cousin over there, but to make friends as an adult is very challenging. Brian from Philly, happy birthday to you, and thank you for the $20. By the way, during that interview with Bubba, I don't know if you guys could hear me, but every time he swore, I was like, because I was really scared we were gonna run out of dumps. But anyway, sorry, I don't know. I was looking at the big red button, and that's what reminded me of it. But yeah, so fucked around. Went to grad school, got in by the seat of my pants, like really shouldn't have got into grad school. And I divulged this information to my former roommate and I told him, I'm like, I really fucked around. I should have never got in. Like, I feel like I don't belong, imposter syndrome. And when you're friends with someone, that's a really great way to connect. I think with a partner, with a new acquaintance, is vulnerability, right? That's how people bond, is they tell each other secrets or insecurities. It's a really great way to build trust with somebody that could later be broken. But it's a risk you take because you're like, wow, I'm not painting myself in the best light. And this doesn't make me feel good about myself to tell another human being, hey, I probably, shouldn't have got in because I didn't really do much. I tried to shoehorn like a month-long internship at UC San Diego, working for some chick who, whatever. It was not something I wanted to do, but it was like data entry. I'm like, whatever. I need to just put something on my resume because it's not looking good for me getting into grad school. And that was the plan all along, but whatever. So I get in, I tell this guy, hey, I shouldn't have got in. I feel like I was kind of just, it's their inaugural year, so they're trying to build up their program. And he was really cool about it initially. Obviously, I just was like, wow, I was not breaking down, but like, man, I don't belong here. I was rusty. Everybody was up to speed on all the new research and all the new studies and the new big superstars. David Buss was, God, Andrew Pinker, those kinds of guys. But the newer people that I hadn't heard of in the last 3 years, I'm like, who the fuck is that? I didn't know anybody. When my classmates cohort mates would reference them, I felt very insecure about it. So I divulged it to this Indian roommate. And then on the way out, when things went south and nothing romantic ever happened between us, but maybe I wasn't the most considerate person. Maybe I pressed some buttons with him and whatever. He lashed out. And on the way out, he said hurtful things about, you should have never gotten in. You're not, I don't know if he said like, you're not smart enough to be here. I don't know if it was anything about my intellect, but he's like, you don't know how to do anything. And he was kind of right. Like I didn't at that time. I was like a 25-year-old baby. My parents coddled me probably more than they should have in terms of I didn't know how to do anything. I make jokes about I didn't know how to do laundry until I went to college and like just kind of figured it out. I didn't know how to, I don't even know if I like plunged a toilet. Like I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't know how to do anything with my car or how to set up like a bank account, like any adult stuff. I was just like in the dark about. And I think my parents were trying to just be like, we'll take care of it. We're your caretakers. But, it probably lasted a little longer than it should have. And I'm not shitting on my parents for like taking care of me or anything. But they would probably be the first to tell you like, yeah, we probably should have given you a little bit more responsibility and taught you how to do a few more things on your own so that when you're in the real world, you're not just clueless. So, I didn't know how to get car insurance for my vehicle and like all those things that, I guess most people do. But I've actually heard from quite a few people where, their parents just do everything for them because they've always done it that way. And it kind of, even though it seems like it's nice in the short term and the long term, it kind of fucks them because then you're just like this useless adult animal. So yeah, I divulge a lot of that sort of stuff. Now I don't care about talking about it because I'm pretty competent. But back then I was not. So I was insecure about it. I didn't know how to do anything. I was Googling shit you shouldn't have to Google at 25. But anyway, so I told this guy all that sort of shit, and he used it against me. And I remember feeling offended. And I think that was one of the last times I remember feeling offended. So yeah, that was kind of just a long-winded story to tell you, like, it doesn't happen often, and it has to be very personal, not something general, like someone saying something about women or Jews or immigrants or short people or people with brown hair or whatever the fuck it is. I just don't understand how something like that could offend you, especially when it's coming from someone you don't know. But, I can also understand that if you don't like hearing certain shit, you turn it off. If there's a song on the radio I don't like from a station that I typically listen to, I will turn the station. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. So I know that yesterday there was kind of a big hoopla about some choice words that I like to use because I like the aesthetic of them. But yeah, apparently it upsets some people. Now, again, I will give props where props are properly due. And that is to say that when people on the right get offended, or people who are more religious, let's say, get offended, they tend to just keep scrolling or stop listening. And I appreciate that. I'd much rather you not just stop listening to the program than try to get us canceled off the few places that we're left on right now. Although we are back on Twitter, so fuck y'all. But nevertheless, I do appreciate that. To just be like, I don't like this. I'm not supporting it anymore, but I'm going to just move on with my life. Not, as we've seen oftentimes on the woke end of things, they seem to have just a lot more energy. Sponsored by Monster. I don't know how they have so much energy to try to ruin people's lives. Do you not have jobs? It's odd. So, yeah, with the left, when they get upset, then they try to ruin lives, which is annoying. So I do appreciate that if you are upset. It's odd to me that you like it, possibly everything about the show, but then when I say that one thing, you're like, hey, not cool. I'm like, yeah, but I just made like a joke about blacks, Latinos, women, like you were all Holocaust joke, ha 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 ha, so funny. And then I say GB, and you're like, wait a second, that's not okay. Yeah, I'm just like, what? But we were just laughing a second ago about something horrendous. Like I made a 9/11 joke, and you laughed. Like what's going on there? So I don't get it. I don't get offended very often. It has to be personal. It has to be about me for me to feel offended. So it's a unique situation to be offended for like a group that you randomly belong to, and it's even more odd to be offended for a group you don't belong to. And I know that that's a big deal with the virtue signaling sort of thing. And I know we talk a lot about the wokeness, and I know Bubba goes into a lot about the alphabet soup of things. But it's becoming more and more apparent that we're taking the bait. After we talked with Alex Wednesday, and I did a little bit more research, and Lummy sent Bubba that clip of Jesse Waters, we're really missing the big picture here. And I started doing some research also on, me and the health game. And one of the best ways to divert any sort of blame or attention on yourself when you're trying to get shit done behind the scenes is just to create a lot of chaos. And I'm starting to pay attention. And I think you guys can feel my tinfoil hat coming on right now. But it's to create a lot of chaos, right? So you rile up one side, and that inevitably, Newton's law of, I think it's the third law of thermodynamics, the equal and opposite reaction deal. So the left gets upset, the right gets upset, the left gets upset, the right gets upset, and we're arguing like fucking loser peasants about something that it was fucking planned. Is it a good idea for Target to do this? Is it a good idea for Bud Light? And we're spending time talking about it. And we have to because it's in the news. But if you take a step back and you go, what's the point of them doing this? And you kind of follow the trail backwards, you're like, oh, interesting. We saw that. I think it was a short. I think we played it on this show. I can't remember if I watched it independently by myself or if we watched it on the show of Larry Fink, who I believe is the CEO of what is it? BlackRock. That multinational investment company. And he's wanting to force feed this agenda on other corporations and making them, subscribe to this wokest agenda. And I'm like that 3-year-old kid that's like, but why? And then you're like, this guy's men do that. Why? But why, mommy? Why? Yeah, get to why. Finally, you try to just get to the base of the issue. Okay, well, why would he be pushing that agenda on these companies? And why would they be taking the bait? Well, obviously, these companies, they lost $9 billion or $10 billion, let's say Target as the example. But in the long term, they're getting more social credit. This ESG, I've been doing a lot of research on ESG because I don't like it when people, like Alex called it, we called Alex on Wednesday. He's like, I'm surprised Anna doesn't know this. I was a little offended. I guess I was a little offended in that moment. I went, fuck. I probably should know that. People expect me to know that. So instead of just sitting and loathing and hating Alex for, making me feel like a loser, I was like, okay, well, this can be easily resolved. I will go and do my due diligence and do some research on my own. So I did. And I'm like, huh. So this guy who owns this investment company, who's a fucking billionaire, is pushing other companies to subscribe to his wokest agenda. All right. But I was like, but why does he have this agenda? He's made all the money. Why does he have to start moving and shifting and getting into political at all? Like, why not just make your fucking money, get the bag, sis, go home, blast your hot wife maybe, and, dine at the finest restaurants and just leave the rest of us alone? Like, why are you getting politically motivated? What is the motivation for you, sir? Is it just, and by him, I don't just mean him, I mean like that elite class of people, you know what I'm talking about? The Illuminati kind of folks, the people that vacation at Bohemian Grove. Yeah. Some people vacation in, I don't know, Miami Beach. Some people maybe go to the Bahamas. They hit up the Cayman Islands. Some people vacation at Bohemian Grove, okay, where they have, sacrifices of a effigy of a child under a big stone owl, where they're fucking prostitutes and having gay sex. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but whatever. So, you got to go, all right, well, why are these people they all seem to agree with each other? It seems a bit odd that the richest people on the planet, minus, let's say, the Saudis, they don't seem to be too LGBT friendly, but it seems like all the other ones are pushing this woke agenda. Okay, and then we stop asking questions. We go, oh, well, they're all left. Okay, but why? Why do they all seem to agree with each other? That doesn't make any sense to me. But then you go, okay, hold on. Let me do some math. These billionaires, multi-billionaires, are pushing an agenda that hates people in their socioeconomic class, right? The left typically hates the rich. I mean, even going back to, the Marxist breakdown, it was the proletariat, the working class versus the bourgeoisie, the nobility, fuck them, the old money, the people who make the money, who don't pay their fair share. Those are the people that the left typically hates, right? So it just seems a bit odd that all the people with the money are on the side of the people who hate people with money. That doesn't seem to make sense. It seems like it would be, hey, fuck you. I worked hard. I had a great idea and I climbed my way to the top of this corporate ladder and now I'm a billionaire and you can suck my D. That would be my response. Like, I earned this money. But they probably do feel that way. But publicly, they can't be saying that sort of shit because they don't want people to come after them. They want to be, who could be mad at BlackRock when BlackRock is pushing all these, wokest agenda sort of things? This is exactly what Alex Jones talks about often. The globalists, the billionaires, the people with the money are pushing the agenda of people who hate people like them. That doesn't make any sense. But then if you just kind of think about it, it makes all the sense. Where, I'm one of you. How can you hate me when I'm responsible for putting, tuck-friendly bathing suits at the forefront of Target stores around the nation? Oh, now it seems to make a little bit more sense. It's like putting the lamb's blood over your door so that the angel of death passes over. It's putting the BLM flag or sign in your window of your business so that, they don't destroy the business you've worked so hard to create over the last 2 decades. Oh, that's why. Maybe that's why they all seem to agree with one another, pushing this agenda, this wokest agenda. We always just stop there. Like, why are we not asking more questions? Why do they all seem to agree? Why is it that Mark Zuckerberg and Larry Fink and Jeff Bezos and all these people seem to agree with each other, but they don't necessarily have anything in common other than the fact that they wield a lot of power and have a lot of money? It's not necessarily that they grew up in the same home or had the same upbringing or the same religious background. It's why do they all seem to hang to the left? It just didn't make sense to me. So I was like, okay, I kind of followed the money trail and I go, oh, interesting. So you get a guy like Larry Fink, who's the CEO of BlackRock, kind of force feeding this sort of wokest agenda down companies' throats and saying, hey, listen, we'll do business with you. You can use us as an investment bank and we'll invest in your company and blah, blah, blah. And, maybe you'll take a short-term hit, but at the end of the day, you'll get a higher ESG score. And in the future, we're only moving to, in the more progressive direction, and you think about like Tucker Carlson and he's like considered conservative or on the right. I mean, the guy is openly talked about like, you've heard him on Bubba's show. I don't need to repeat it, but you think that the conservatives of the 1950s would think that Tucker Carlson is a conservative? No, they would not. They'd be like, this liberal pussy, So if we kind of zoom out, everything is moving in the more progressive direction. So, maybe Target's taking a hit, maybe Bud Light's taking a hit now. But if this is currying favor with multinational investment banking companies like BlackRock, it will probably serve them in the future. If the World Economic Forum looks favorably upon things like that, which is some weird kind of multinational organization loosely talking about where we're going in the future, and it's like this weird committee. They kind of wield power, but kind of don't. It's like the actual organization doesn't, but the people in it do. So I don't know. What it's doing is just diverting attention away from themselves so that the peasants just fight each other. And that's exactly what's happening. And I'm sick of taking the bait. And I'm sick of talking about it, but, you have to because it's in the news. But look at us. We're fighting over the bathing suit. Who gives a fuck about the bathing suit in the train? Who cares? And we keep going, well, this is such a small proportion of the population. How is it that, being trans has gone up 120,000% in the last 10 years? It doesn't make any sense. Well, it's just kind of reporting bias. Like everyone's talking about it. We're elevating people who are trans athletes or, trans men that are pregnant on the cover of, it wasn't Vogue, but it was some I saw it today on Twitter. Some I don't know, magazine where it's like, oh, woman of the year, and it's a woman without tits, it's pregnant, as a beard. It's like, you're like, whoa, okay, whatever. But why does that? Why are we talking about things that I don't want to say that don't really matter, but they really don't? Are people collecting trans people and putting them in concentration camps and burning them at the stake? No. I mean, again, I wouldn't be doing this in, maybe don't try this in Syria. Maybe don't try this in Uganda. Maybe don't try this in Saudi Arabia. But, it's clearly not the case in the U.S. and in the Western world. And there's like isolated acts of violence, of course. Like I wouldn't suggest that. I wouldn't say that, racism is eradicated. It's like, it's not institutionalized anymore and hasn't been since like the 1960s. But are there racist people? Sure. But you can't just people are allowed to be racist. People are allowed to be sexist. People are allowed to be transphobic, which is such a weird way. We're not afraid. Whatever. You get it. You're allowed to be all those things. But forcing it down someone's throat isn't converting any minds and hearts. And the people at the top, like Larry Fink, know this. They know that when you create chaos, it creates a diversion. And now I think we need to stop taking the bait and go, we're not falling for this anymore. And we turn around and we go, why is this happening? Why are we creating so much chaos around something that such a small, minute minority of the population even is or associates with? So it seems a bit odd. But now we got rap videos and they're trying to take our children, and I get it when it's like infiltrating the education system and you're like, I want my kid to learn their ABCs, not their LGBTs. Oh, that was a pretty good one. I understand as a parent that would infuriate you. But something like the Target deal or a brand that goes woke, it's like, I don't know. Whatever, dude. I'm still going to fucking shop at Target. I never liked Bud Lights. I'm not going to drink their shit. And their seltzers fucking suck, by the way. The worst I've ever had. BOGO at Publix. Now I know why, because no one wants to drink them. But anyways, don't fall for it. Stop fighting. And I feel like the best way to combat this is to not even acknowledge it. Because they want you to get upset. Target wanted to create a fucking, an ordeal. And maybe it wasn't even Target, but, the people who are funding Target, who are giving Target money, want to create this big fucking ordeal. They want to create chaos because we can't be fighting them if we're fighting each other. And that's exactly what's happening. And again, like I said, I'm not falling for it anymore. 813-90 Bubba. So I hope you enjoyed that little tirade about the Black Rock, the Target. But honestly, what I find, and I got deep in the hole yesterday, guys. Not only is it, corporations going woke, but let's talk about healthcare and health insurance. And the fact that more people are taking metformin and more people are getting diabetes and more people are taking SSRIs and more people are coming down with depression. So all this and then you get into the big pharma deal. And then I started getting into I got down a rabbit hole of let's just call them the sugar companies, Coca-Cola, namely. There's a guy by the name of Callie Means, and he was like, blowing my mind. He worked as I think he was a consultant for Coca-Cola. And he was like, I'm telling you right now, he's like, the NAACP is like bought and paid for by companies like Coke. And not to say anything inflammatory, because God forbid, GB, I say something like that and upset everybody. But, and I kind of wish we talked about it today just because it was so fresh on my mind. But if anyone doesn't care about the welfare of Black people and Black lives, it's the NAACP. Because they are bought and paid for by companies like Coke. Because I learned that if you are getting food stamps using the EBT or what's the, it's not, is it SNAP? It's SNAP, not SCAT. That's something different, Anna. The SNAP program, for lower income people, they get food stamps, obviously, if they can't afford food. And one of the products that is covered for food stamp funding is Coca-Cola, Coke products, sugar water, that sort of thing. And every time it comes to the table to make legislation about not having government assistance cover products like Coke, like you shouldn't be able to buy a Coca-Cola with food stamps. Every time that happens, Coke is terrified because Coke apparently gets $10 billion a year from the government for subsidized food stamps, things like that. So what does Coke do to ensure that that doesn't happen? Because they know that a lot of the people who are lower income like those sugary drinks. And let's just say a lot of people who are on food stamps happen to be African American. So Coke goes, well, we get a lot of money from the government, these subsidized food stamps funding. So it cannot be part of the conversation to have that be taken out. So what do? They contact the NAACP. They go, we'd love to make a very healthy donation to your organization. And if you could come out and say that any sort of legislation that would want to take away Coke products from your constituents, from the black community, is an inherently racist bill, and it's racist legislation. If you could just call that out for us, that would be great. So the NAACP takes that fucking money, pockets it, and anytime that there's any sort of, conversation about maybe taking Coke and Coke products or Pepsi products off the market as far as, not being subsidized by food stamps, they call that out as being racist because they're trying to take away something that the black community loves or whatever, however they want to phrase it. And that sugar water is killing more black people than, racism ever did. And then you see all these articles about, the healthcare system is unfair towards minorities and minorities are dying and they're, more unhealthy. It's because we live in a racist society. It's like, what the fuck is going on? If you have lower income people drinking soda water, not to make this all about a health thing, but it's fucking true, and they're getting these horrific chronic metabolic diseases, this isn't something that is acute. It's not like you go in and you have a cut and you need antibiotics, or you're sick and you need some medication to get over your cold or whatever. This is something that's fucking chronic. Teenagers should not be having fatty liver disease. That should be reserved for like 65-year-old alcoholics. So the fact that, kids are becoming pre-diabetic, the fact that most of, let's just say, the United States population is either overweight or obese, and I talk about health and it's annoying. You're like, Anna, shut the fuck up. But if you really think about it, it's a money-making machine for Coke, obviously, for the healthcare system. Because I also learned from this guy, I'm telling you, look up this guy, Callie Means. I was just like sitting there just like, holy shit. Because he came with the stats, he came to play. He was saying that like 90% of all of the money that's spent on healthcare and healthcare costs, 90% of it is treating chronic issues. Things that the healthcare system was not supposed to be doing. And things like pain management and, pills that you go on and you never come off. And the fact that you can go to your doctor for your diabetes and they tell you, here, take metformin or whatever, and they don't tell you anything about possibly changing your diet is abysmal. So they want you to be sick. The NAACP wants black people to get sick because they are making money from companies like Coca-Cola. And this guy, Callie Means, again, I keep referencing him, but I watched probably about an hour and a half of him yesterday, of him just going off, just like, this is fucking disgusting. And he's like, this is the biggest problem facing America right now. He's like, you want to talk about racism? He's like, we should be talking about how racist the sugar companies are trying to kill black people and minorities because those people are often lower income and they are getting subsidies from the government to buy food. And Coca-Cola wants to be included in those subsidized food products. Makes sense. But at what cost? So the more, and I know, forget about like the intermittent fasting and all that fucking bullshit, but like what you're food is, we are consuming like 70% of the things that Americans consume are like not supposed to be eaten by human beings. They were not in our diet, I would say 150, even 50 years ago, just highly processed refined sugars, the vegetable seed oils, and the added sugars. It's killing us. It is keeping us sick, and it's so fucking bizarre because we have more information, more access to information than we ever did before when it comes to pretty much anything. When it comes to health, I understand there's a lot of fucking misinformation. You don't know what's true, what's false, but I think everyone can identify that it's probably better to eat an orange than a donut. I think everybody knows that by now. So I would encourage you listening, those that are, to just be a bit more mindful about what the fuck the system is trying to do to us to keep us sick. Who's profiting us off of us getting cancer? And most of you are like, well, Anna, cancer is genetic. And I am not a doctor, obviously. And it isn't. I'm not saying it's completely not genetic, but like, why wasn't like cancer such a big issue 100 years ago? Could it be the fact that maybe people weren't living long enough to get cancer, but it's obviously it's being influenced certainly by genetics, but also by our environment, our lifestyle, what we're eating, how much we're moving. All these kind of like warning signs, they're not unrelated. The people, it's not a coincidence that people with diabetes have a higher chance of getting cancer. It's not a coincidence people who are more obese have a higher chance of getting diabetes and cancer. It's not, these aren't coincidences that you start feeding yourself all these like inflammatory things that were not meant for human consumption. You're not meant to consume canola oil or rapeseed oil or cottonseed oil or soybean oil. These were byproducts that companies realized were money on the table. These things aren't good for us, but they have a very long shelf life. And again, they were things that were being produced in other sorts of food manufacturing. So they was just like, all right, we have all this oil left over from shit we're processing. And I think they were using it initially for like machines and cleaning and shit like that. And they realized, oh, okay, hey, hold on a second. Maybe people can use this for cooking. It's got a very long shelf life. It can be kept at room temperature. What it does to the human body, we don't know. Whatever, who fucking cares? Let's make some money. So all this sort of stuff, it just seems to kind of, all right, it's these elite group of people, whether it's Target and being woke or it's Coca-Cola paying off the NAACP, seems like they're all just like in bed together and they don't give a fuck about you and they just want you to be like, oh, this legislation is racist. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Meanwhile, they're just fucking making money. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. It's exactly what they want. And a good way to do that, like I said, and like this Cali Means guy said, it's Calley, and then the last name is Means. It was just blowing my mind. The best way to kind of create a diversion is to create chaos. And you start yelling at your neighbor, you start hating your neighbor, where you're not looking at Coca-Cola. You're not looking at Larry Fink from Black Rock. You're not looking at any of this shit because you only have so much capacity to care about shit. So if 90% of that is you're upset at Target, you're not gonna have a lot of energy left to kind of worry about anything else. And because there's so much confusion and so many crisscross and this person to that person, this person, it's supposed to be ambiguous and confusing because then you're not really mad. You're like, I don't really understand it. But I do understand Target trying to shove this down my son's throat. It's ridiculous. So, then it's easy. That's an easy target to get mad at. But when there's so much chaos and nothing seems organized, that's a really great diversion technique. And yeah, I just spent 45 minutes talking about that, but holy shit. We're taking the bait, folks, and we need to not be taking the bait. And this is not about, trust me, I don't care about, camaraderie, and now I say it dumb like Bubba, and unity, and we need to stick together. Fuck that. This is all about self-preservation, Don't allow yourself to be moved by what Target's doing or Bud Light. And again, we talk about it because it's like topical, and it's kind of like fun to get upset sometimes. You're like, oh, I'm so upset about this can with a rainbow on it. I just can't believe they're just shoving this. It's like kind of like, I don't know, bubblegum stuff to talk about. And again, it does kind of, when it gets into the education system, I understand like, okay, it's actually something we do need to address. But when it's something like a product brand and they're endorsing Pride Month, like, who fucking cares? Right. So, I don't know. Just be a little bit more, keep your head on a swivel. What's really going on? Who is the real villain here? Because it's not who you think it is what I'm telling you. It's not everyone is just trying to make money. It's the money. So follow the fucking money. Oh, but they're losing money. But again, short-term losses for long-term games. Like, look at the game plan. Then you start to appreciate the chess moves made by these people. You go, oh, maybe they deserve to be the elite. Look at us. We're acting like animals. They're civilized, eating in nice restaurants, eating on their yachts, banging hot chicks, doing the things that they do, while us peasants are getting upset at Target and Bud Light. So, anyways, I just feel like I've been like, head on a swivel. What's really going on here? Because it just seems like it wasn't adding up to me. And I know we kind of like touch on it sometimes, but again, it's easiest to have a strong opinion on things that are simple. Once things become nuanced, then it's like, now I don't feel as strongly because I understand your point, and that's less clickbaity. And, like, for example, the gender pay gap thing. Is there a gender pay gap on paper? When you crunch the numbers, sure. Yeah, I guess. But if you take a step back and you go, well, is this because women are getting paid less than men for the same work? No. That would be the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. If you are a company and you can pay a woman 77 cents on the male dollar, you would hire only women, would you not? If I knew that women would work for less, I would never hire a man ever again. But if you go, yeah, women make less than men. Okay, but why? Is it because most of them are, not most of them, but more women are working part-time? Are they working for lower paying jobs because maybe they value things like work-life balance? Maybe they're not willing to work 80 hours a week like these top earning men. Maybe they don't want to be Dr. Dan and have 18 jobs and coach. Maybe they want to kind of, have a family or have a less stressful job where when they leave the workplace, their work for the day is done. Maybe that's the reason. But once you start to kind of break down the minutia of the actual issue, then it's less clickbaity. Then it kind of makes more sense. Then it's less inflammatory. Then it's less fun. And then you just don't get as mad. And then people just move on. So we can't be having that. We have to say inflammatory things like, the gender pay gap, everyone's sexist. It makes absolutely no sense. And it shouldn't make sense. And when it doesn't make sense, that's when you go, oh, wait. That's when I turn around and go, wait, hold on a second. What should I really be paying attention to behind me? Because seriously, some shit is going on that I was unaware of because they're trying to distract me. And sometimes I do get distracted by the pretty lights, by the big tits, by the nice ass, by the broad shoulders. Maybe I do get distracted by that. But what's really going on behind the scenes is what I want to know. And I know that this is something that Alex Jones would talk about, ad nauseum. But I don't think he's wrong. I think that this is just a beautiful tactic to use that's been used in the past and will be used in the present because I don't want to say humans are dumb, but we're easily duped. We're easily duped, and it's hard, especially when the media is feeding you the information it wants you to be privy of. It's hard to get upset about the other stuff that you don't know about. So, act in self-preservation. Be a strong-minded individual, and don't allow yourself to be offended, especially by strangers who say things about a group you may belong to. Don't be weak-minded. Be strong-minded. Go, okay, why would I care what they think? And even when you don't have to be like, I don't care what you think. Like, literally give them no elevation of energy whatsoever. Who cares what the fuck they think? Doesn't matter. You worry about you. You get in the game. You start making that money. You start taking advantage of the poor. You start taking advantage of the, disenfranchised. You be that bad bitch, that Jerry Fink or Larry Fink, where the fuck his name is. You be that Jeff Bezos. Okay, you think Jeff Bezos gives a fuck what people say about bald people? He's busy making fucking money. Go make that money, sis. Grab that bag. All right, we'll take a few calls. Yeah, I think that was a full hour of me. Sorry. Let's hear more from you. Hello, who's this?
Anna, it's Neil Mount Plaisir. How you doing?
Neil Mount Plaisir. I think you may have been on hold for the longest time ever. And
no.
Okay.
It was a great rant.
Okay,
actually.
yeah.
Everything that you talk about is what people need to realize what's going on. They get their eye off the prize and what they're really doing to the American people. But
it's not even just American people. It's people in general. We are just pawns in other people's fucking little chess game. That's what's going on.
You're
Sorry,
right.
Go ahead, Neil.
And real quick, I want to say I appreciate you talking about intermittent fasting. I've done it since March 13th, listening to you, and I've dropped 40 pounds.
Fuck yes!
And probably the best shape of my life. I just turned 50. I'm a Packers fan. I just went to Lambeau 3 weeks ago.
Hell yeah.
I did that.
Go Pack, go.
And then, but I had to train my wife about only eating one meal a day.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to tell you, because I have a physical job, I'm outside all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about the sugar thing, and I live in Illinois.
Yeah.
And I just see some of the biggest human beings. And like you say, the SSRI drugs, everybody's depressed.
Yeah.
Take a drug for this. Take a drug for this.
Yep.
Take a drug for this.
Yep.
So I'm going to be short. You're the best.
Thank you, Neil.
We're on the same line of I'm more libertarian now because both sides. It's the blue red. Let's get on a team, which is a bunch of crap.
Right.
Just
you think for yourself.
Live your life, and actually that Alex Jones episode on Joe Rogan with Tim Dillon that I love, which was 1555, the best episode.
Yeah.
That's when he went nuts.
Oh, I know. I watched all 3 hours and 11 minutes of that. I was riveted. Yeah.
My dad told me to listen to Alex Jones back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And my dad is and I listen to podcasts all day long, but I'm so far ahead of what's going on. This whole, the Target, the Bud Light, the North Face, it's all let's forget about what's really going on with the American people. Great show.
Thank you.
I'll get off. I don't want to take
No. Neil, thank you so much. And you seriously made my day. It makes me so happy to hear that something that costs you nothing, which is my game as a Jew, costs you nothing. You don't have to go on any pills, nothing. You literally just hold off breakfast a little bit longer. That's it.
Real quick, let me ask you a quick question. How many hours, like I have this fasting app, Life, I just put my hours in.
Yeah.
And I average probably 147 hours a week that I fast.
Okay.
And I know you said you kind of changed your hours, which I did 1 week because I was I usually go to bathroom in the morning before I was doing this.
Okay.
And now I kind of changed my hours from 18 to 20.
Okay.
Now when you eat, what kind of meals? And I know you're a vegetarian.
Yeah.
But do you look at carbs, calorie count? See, with me, I don't. I just eat my meal
intuitively.
But it's a high protein, a lot of salads, but I don't have any sugar at all. I haven't had any hardly at all. So
that's great. Well, I honestly, in full disclosure, I had to scale back the intermittent fasting because much like a song that you love that you put on repeat, I fucking ruined it. I took a good thing and I made it bad. I when I got a body scan, like a body composition scan.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, and the girl was like, and I'm going to bring this girl on the show at some point. She's really cool and she knows a lot about nutrition and whatnot, but she was like, you're actually in a catabolic state. And I'm not quite sure the metrics and how she got me there, but the scan determined that I was in the catabolic quadrant, which is not my goal. Obviously, you want to be either maintaining or in an anabolic. You want to be gaining lean mass. You don't want to be deteriorating. My body was basically cannibalizing itself. And that's because I took intermittent fasting a little too far, folks. Sometimes a good thing, you can do a good thing and drive it into the ground, and it starts to not serve you in the way it once did. And so I went, oh, shit. And I was weighed. My weight was a bit low. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just do a little bit of reversing. That doesn't mean you throw out the entire system, but you just scale it back. And I was feeling really good when I was in the 18 to 20 hour range of fasting. So that's what I'm trying to return to. But, you know me, I'm like, oh, 18's good, 20's better, 24, 26, 30, 36, 72. I was going crazy. I even did that 45-hour fast. Because you're going crazy and you're just like, oh, the benefits, the autophagy, and I got a little bit too thin. So I started to reverse it. I really let myself kind of enjoy myself when I was in New York. And I didn't really worry about, when I was eating or what I was eating. You can't do that all the time, but whatever. I've been a little bit more lax with myself since I've returned. I've gained a few pounds and I feel much better. My energy's much better. I'm fasting probably in the ballpark of about 20 to 22 hours right now.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I work kind of the same schedule. I get up I get up about 3 before every day.
Right.
And I'm still working usually at 6 at night because I do pest control, so it's crazy time. But this kind of works out at the right time, and I appreciate everything you do. Keep it up.
Seriously, thank you so much for calling in and telling me that. Nothing makes me happier than when I hear people are like, I changed my life, I turned it around, and all I had to do was just fast a little bit. I'm like, fuck yeah. No pills, no money, nothing. You just fast a little bit, and that's what your body's supposed to do. Neil, thank you so much for calling in. Right. I really appreciate it.
See ya. All right, bye-bye.
See you later. Almost said it. I've been lately, I don't want to use the word obsessed, but really focused on returning to ancestral settings, let's say. So I go, okay, what are the biggest problems, let's just say in America or the West? Obesity, depression, those are two pretty big ones. Being sedentary, all this sort of stuff. Well, how did our ancestors do it? What were they doing? Were they eating 3 meals and 3 snacks a day? No. Were they eating Pop-Tarts and highly refined sugars and flours? No. Were they getting adequate amounts of exercise because they were foraging for berries and buffalo? Yes. Were they getting adequate amounts of sun and sleep? Yes. Okay, well, maybe we should return back to stock settings because we like to think we're so evolved and we're so, I guess evolved is the only word. We think we've outgrown our animalistic settings. We're like, we're not animals, but guess what? We fucking are animals. We're smart animals, but we're still animals. Us and chimps are 99.8% genetically identical to one another. We are fucking animals. We shit like animals. We fuck like animals. We die like animals. We rage like animals. We grieve like animals. All those sorts of things. We are that. So we can't be thinking that we can live in these ginormous jungle concrete cities and be unaffected by that. We can't think that we just can be sedentary all day, sit in an office, go home, eat poorly, go to bed, have shitty sleep, wake up and live a happy life. It's just not going to work out for you. You need to return to stock settings. How do you do that? Number one is fucking sleep, by the way. You thought I was going to say diet? No, it's sleep. You need to be recharged every day. But it all is interconnected, much like everything is. You can't get great sleep if you eat like shit all the time. So you need to, number one, you got to clean up that diet. And, people always try to tell me like, oh, no, like I can't lose weight and I'm working out every day. So, like you're barely burning calories working out. Sorry, you're barely burning calories working out. If you want to lose weight, working out is a horrible way to do that. And take that from someone who's been working out since they were 12 years old. You're not burning that much. You're not burning that many calories when you're lifting weights. You're burning a bit more when you're doing cardio, but still not as much as you think you are. It's all about diet. It's like 90% diet. So you got to clean up that diet. And not only just to lose weight, but for your mind, your brain. You have like 500 million, I think I might be making up that number, 500 million neurons in your gut, okay? That's affecting your serotonin levels. That's affecting your dopamine levels. That's affecting your fucking mood. What you're eating is affecting your mood. Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I da-da-da? Whatever. And then your mood affects your behavior. So how do we need to go to the source. Stop eating like shit. Try to eat more whole foods in their most natural form. That will improve your mood just by itself. Okay? So we got that. All right. First do the diet. Don't do it all at once because then you're going to be like, oh, no, I can't. All right. Fucking. Don't even worry about intermittent fasting. Like, first just worry about what the fuck you're putting in your mouth. All right? If you're going to eat all day long, maybe throw a floret of broccoli in there, perhaps. All right, so clean that up. Next, before we even do the intermittent fasting, start moving around. Okay, and that's not to lose weight. That's for elevated mood. That's for heart strength. That's for, building muscle, stretching, being limber, not being stiff. You want to be a mobile person, don't you? Do that. Then you can start doing the intermittent. Then you can start doing the fancy stuff, the intermittent fasting. I would suggest trying to get some sort of daylight, the sun in your eyes at some point, like the real sun, not this fucking ring light that's blinding me, but real sunlight, and sleep. And if you can do all of those things, that is 80% of the battle. That doesn't mean it's going to eradicate all your issues. You're going to still have problems, in a 21st century world. And even in a whatever, 4th century world, you're still going to have problems. That's part of the human condition is to have problems. But to me, it's just like people are like, shut up. But I'm like, I can't say this enough because it will improve your life so much if you just do the basic shit. Try to eat natural foods to the best of your ability. That doesn't mean, of course, I took a big slab of Dan's cake and I'm taking it home and I'm going to eat it today. So don't you even think twice about that. That's happening. But most of the time, I'm on my shit. I'm on my game. So we got to eat natural foods that came from the fucking earth in their natural form. Okay? If it has a label on it, like it's probably, and just because it's processed doesn't mean it's horrible for you, but it probably means it's not good for you. So the more that you can go back to natural state foods, vegetables in their natural form, fruits, vegetables, whatever. Even if you want to do the dairy, lean meats, and we can get into factory farming, whatever, try to do cage-free, even though that doesn't even mean anything. Try to just get your own chickens and slaughter your own cows. That would be the best. But you can do that and eat a whole food to the best of your ability. I know it's never going to be 100%. It's not 100% with me. You can do that, sleep, and kind of move around. You don't have to be crazy like me. You don't have to do the jujitsu, okay? That shit's crazy. You don't have to be running even. You don't have to be doing marathons. You don't have to be, swimming from here to Caladesi Island. You don't have to be doing any of that shit. Just walk. Can you do that? Can you walk? Just walk. That's all I'm asking. Out in the sun. I'm not going to make you do fucking burpees. All right? Those are the worst. I would never do that to friends. Just move a little bit. Just eat a whole food based. I don't care. Vegan, meat, what the fuck ever. The closer to the natural source, the better. You can do that. Move. Get sunlight. Sleep. 80% of your problems. Gone. I mean, no guarantees, but yeah, I'm trying to be dramatic here, folks. You get it. But yeah, that is the ticket. And then from there, obviously, I would say that the missing link, once we get that all out of the way, when we take care of the physical body, how do we take care of the emotional body? And I'm not trying to sound like all like, what's like woo-woo or anything. But, You got to connect with people that not on the internet, okay? Real life connection. I'm obsessed with longevity and how to not just live long, but live a long quality life. How do I do that? Well, you got to do all the things I just mentioned, but the people who are living the longest, most of them have a somewhat of a Mediterranean diet. They probably, aren't eating 12 times a day, and they are also deeply connected in their community. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are married or single, although married people apparently live longer. But they are connected to their community. They have things to look forward to in the future. Once the brain doesn't want to live anymore, once there's nothing to look forward to, that's when the body really starts to deteriorate. If you can keep yourself engaged and involved. My grandmother, my Bubby, and I was her Bubba. My Bubby, and sometimes you'll hear me slip up and call Bubba Bubby by accident. Bubby means grandmother in Yiddish. My Bubby lived to 94. Yeah, 94. Was she in great health? As, pretty good for a 94-year-old. Not great, but not horrible. She'd have like bleeding colons and shit sometimes, and it would be embarrassing because we'd go to the grocery store, go to Stater Bros. It's a California thing. Go to Stater Brothers, and she would tell the people, Albertsons, tell the people at checkout, the cashier, about her bleeding colon. I'm like, this is not the time nor the place, Bubby, but, you don't tell Bubby what to do. She tells you what the fuck to do. She's like, I'm a World War II veteran nurse. You could suck it. So you just let Bubby talk. So she had some issues, but also I bet you could go back into how she was probably not doing the intermittent fasting and eating a whole food-based diet. So, but she was deeply engaged in her community. She went to she was going to a community college, not for like a degree, but she would go in like audit classes, go to lectures the week before she died. Like she was going up until basically when she died, she was activating her mind. That's another thing. Neuroplasticity. She was constantly reading. She was constantly doing crossword puzzles. I don't think she was in the Sudoku game, but she loved the crossword puzzles, and she would always love to read about history. And she was constantly going to classes at Miracosta Community College in Oceanside, California, up until when she died. And she was deeply involved in the like Jewish veterans thing and the synagogue, even though Bubby didn't even believe in God. Yep. I didn't know that. I interviewed her, actually. I need to find it. But I recorded an interview with her probably about 6 months before she died, just asking her about life, love, friendship, all that sort of shit. And I don't know if it was on the air or off, but I asked her if she believed in God, and she's like, I don't know. She's like, I like the community. That's what she said, which makes sense, right? That's why you do it. So you show up, you give everybody hugs and COVID, you share some challah, you have some manischewitz, you say Shabbat Shalom, blah, blah, blah. She just liked the nostalgia. Obviously, she grew up Jewish. She raised her family to be Jewish. And then, it ends with me. But whatever. She just liked the community of it. And I'm like, I fucking get that. I have community, too, just in other ways. I have community at work. I have community with, like, my friend group. I have community with jiu-jitsu. I think that's pretty much it. But I have plenty of, like, community that I don't feel the need to go to a synagogue or church or mosque or anything like that. But that's a big place where people do. So, and it was so funny because, like, Bubby has Jewish paraphernalia everywhere. But then when I'm like, do you believe in God? She's like, nah, I don't even know. I'm like, Bubby? She's like, I don't know. She's like, I like it. She's like, I like eating brisket. And I like the bagels. And I like going to synagogue because I like the way it makes me feel. It makes me feel connected. And connectivity, they've done a lot of studies on people who are, what are they called? Centurions, whatever. People who live past 100. What are they doing that other people aren't? Okay, well, I would say number one, everywhere you look is going to tell you something different, but I would say the two major things are what they're eating and their community. Those two things are going to keep you engaged. Those two things are going to keep you living and give you a better quality of life. And I'm saying that because I care, because I'm a healthcare hero, okay? You hear my testimonials. I'm fucking 10 for 10 with these people. Calling in, I lost 50 pounds, 40 pounds, 30 pounds, all this sort of shit. I lost too much weight, I had to kind of like reverse gears and, pull it back a little bit. But the shit works. The intermittent fasting works. The whole food diet is going to work. Take care of your body. Take care of your temple, man. Not because we all want to be hot or hotter. Who doesn't, obviously? And Dan can help you with that, certainly. But you should also take it upon yourself to go, okay, let's not go to Big Pharma. Let's not do that. Let's fucking try to solve this puzzle on our own. What can we do? Stop, obviously food is fuel, but food is also medicine. There's also micronutrients in food that can help not only, prevent things, but reverse them, which is so incredibly mind-blowing that you can literally reverse your diabetes if you change the way that you eat. Don't you want to see your kids grow up? Don't you want to live a better, more quality-filled life? I don't know. I do. And I got some time on my hands because I ain't got no kids. So I fucking look up shit on the internet all the time, trying to be better. And then I go outside and blind myself with the real light. And try to stay connected with friends. That's why I'm so big on, brunches and birthdays and celebrations, because it's this is how we connect. And I don't go to fucking temple no more. So I got to connect in other ways. And I think that that's important, to stay connected into your community. I think that's good for the human brain. And it's all about serving the ancestral brain, because our environments are evolving faster than we are. Maybe you've heard of the mismatch hypothesis. People like to bring it up all the time when they're like, we crave fatty, sugary shit. Yeah, because those sorts of preferences for highly palatable foods helped our ancestors survive when they weren't eating every day, when they didn't eat for 3 days and they found some honey. They liked it and they ate it. Do I advise eating honey by the handfuls? No, but the caveat is yes, if you haven't eaten for a fucking week, you do need those nutrients. And that's going to sustain you. So yeah, now we're in a situation where we don't have to forage for food anymore. We have Uber Eats and delivery and cars and whatever. So, we're not taking care of ourselves in the way that we would, but we still have this ancestral brain. So how do we respect that ancestral brain? You got to go back to stock settings. It's actually really, really fucking simple. It's not complicated. Is it hard? Is it maybe going to take some willpower to change your habits? Yeah, but it's not complicated. It's simple. It might be hard to execute, but once you get going, you're going to feel so much better. And this is also an FU to the system, man. I want you off those drugs. You don't need that shit. Look to food as fuel, but also as medicine to help you. I'm passionate about it. Much like Bubba's passionate about Packers, I'm passionate about people living longer, because I'm excited about this information that I keep learning about every day, and I want to share it with you guys and shove it down your throats like the LGBT stuff. That's what I want to do. But this is actually shit that can help improve your life. Hello, who's this?
Did the sheriff call and wish me a happy birthday?
What?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. All right. Well, that joke failed. Never mind.
Sorry.
Florida Stanley.
What's up, Florida Stanley? How's it going?
So, I have nothing on your last 15-minute rant. I called in to talk about something else that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I just have a couple questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, did Brian Cornell put his private jet up for sale?
I don't know who that is, and I don't know.
It's the CEO of Target.
Oh, did he? Did he put it up for sale?
Yeah, did he put it up for sale?
I don't know.
The answer is no.
Oh, okay. I thought this was something you already knew that you wanted me to be like.
Did he put his private yacht up for sale?
No. I see where we're going now. Now I'm on board. Now I get it. Keep going.
So Target is doing just fine.
Yeah.
But back in the 80s when the stock market crashed and people actually lost money, Fortune 500 CEOs were jumping out of buildings to kill themselves.
Oh, like Enron days, the best.
Yeah. So until we start seeing CEOs offing themselves on purpose, there is no issue $10 billion in 10
That's
days.
a really
I don't
good
give
point.
a fuck what the stock market says.
Yeah.
Target is going to be just fine.
Right. That's a great point. If you don't see CEOs jumping out of buildings, everything's
That's
just
what they were doing. I forget the guy's
business
name.
as
but
usual. Yeah.
It was a national story. The CEO of I forget the company, but I remember the number. The CEO of some Fortune 500 company woke up and he only had $10 million left in his bank account, and he killed himself. He jumped out the floor of his 22-story penthouse, jumped out the window of his 22-story penthouse condo in New York because he had $10 million in his bank account. Ooh. And he thought that was not enough money and offed himself.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So nobody is having any issues until CEOs start killing themselves.
Okay, listen, I really like that perspective. That's I had not thought of that. It's profound, and it's realistic. If they're not jumping out of buildings, everything's just fine. Business is fine. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
I love it.
Oh, okay. So what happened? What happened with the Sunset Music Festival? Blitz said you were sick?
Yeah, I was feeling like shit, dude. In 48 hours, I slept 24 of them. So, I mean, I came back
I met up with some other Bubba Army royalty.
I know,
there.
and I felt really bad because I hate letting people down. That's, I'm a little bit of a people pleaser, but especially when I say I'm going to do something. But let me tell you, we came back from New York. It's late Sunday night. I got to bed at like midnight, whatever. And then Monday morning, 5 a.m., I'm up for work. That wrecked me. And then I had to move. And then I got my period. And then I was like, fuck.
Oh, yeah. Blitz was saying that you were so sick that you guys didn't even get any moving done.
On Saturday, we didn't. I moved.
Saturday, yeah.
We moved. I moved some of my stuff on Friday. And then I did not get out of bed until 2 p.m. on Saturday. I could not get out of bed. He just like let me sleep. I wake up. I'm like, I don't even want to know what time it is. It was 1 o'clock. I stayed in the bed another hour. Finally get out. I felt high as fuck it's weird when you feel rested, but you have no energy. And that's how I felt. I'm like, I feel so rested. I have no energy.
Too much sleep.
Yeah. And I think that's what happened, but I needed it obviously. And I had no energy. I said, I can't move today. And he's like, all right. And then I'm like, and we're going to have to cancel Sunset. I feel like shit. And he's like, Blitz was like, there's no way you're going to get to sleep tonight. I'm like, oh, well, whatever. I fell asleep on the couch at 10 p.m. Back in bed another 10 hours straight, no drugs. I slept 24 hours in 2 days. It was crazy. Ooh. Yeah, 14 hours, then 10. 0 Xanax, 0 K-Pins, 0 NyQuil. Just my body needed to just shut down. And then I was also on my period. So I was just like, I hate everything.
Bad combination. All right, I got one more
was.
thing for you before I get sniped.
Yeah.
So when I got back, I went back to my favorite bar, and first of all, it took me 3 days to recover from SMS. So I get back to my favorite bar like the day after, and the bartenders immediately looked at me and they're like, "Wow, you look like shit." And I'm like, "Gee, thanks. Your hair looks great today, by the way."
Yeah.
So this is how I explain to my friends like what's happening with me like. With these festivals, I'm never going to stop going to them, but I need to moderate some stuff a little better.
Okay.
So I'm 35. I'm your age. I'm 35. Oh, I'm sorry. You're 25. That's my bad.
Thank you. Thank you for correcting. Yes, 25.
So when I started going to music festivals when I was like 22, and back then I couldn't afford to get fucked up, but my body was capable of getting fucked up. Now I can afford to get fucked up, and my body can't handle it.
Yeah, you got to feather it out a little bit.
Need to reverse this logic.
Yeah, I mean, if I can ask in a roundabout way without getting too specific, did you party both days? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm assuming you did.
All 3
Friday
days. As well.
Friday, okay. Yeah,
Friday as well.
Maybe not that. Because here's the thing: is like I could still party, but I can't do benders. Like benders are a thing of the past. I used to be able to do benders.
Saturday and Sunday, I would have been all right.
I can't even do that.
It was the third day.
Yeah, I can't even do that. And then your brain is toast. You got like the word search is off for like a week. That happened to me one time where I remember one time I couldn't think of the word couch. I'm like, Like, honestly, I was like, what's that thing you sit on? And someone's like, a couch? I'm like, yeah, that. And I'm like, holy fuck. I killed so many brain cells when I went to Electric Forest. So you just got to kind of like, maybe just don't do 2 days in a row. Maybe stagger. Maybe do Friday and Sunday, or maybe just Saturday or Saturday, Sunday. But, the day of the time of benders is we maybe need to retire that. Yeah.
It's done. It's done.
Also, do you take 5-HTP?
Do I what?
Do you take 5-HTP?
What is that?
It's an over-the-counter like B vitamin essentially for neural health. This is something that I didn't know about either until.
It's supposed to help you bounce back from the come down.
Yeah. You take it before, and I would also take it after.
Okay. No, I
haven't taken it in years.
I stay hydrated.
That helps too. But
I was drinking a gallon, and because I have a Camelback that holds 2 gallons, and I was drinking literally not Friday night because we weren't at the festival. We were out bar hopping, but Saturday and Sunday, I was drinking literally a gallon of water an hour, and I was putting those liquid IV powders in my Camelback.
Isn't that what they tell you? Okay. Okay. Because I know that you're not supposed to chug water when you do certain things because it throws off the salt water balance in your body, and I'm not trying to be.
I wasn't chugging it. I was just drinking a gallon an hour consistently.
Okay.
So I got there, I did 6 hours. I don't get there right when they open the gates. I get there around 6 o'clock. So I did 6 hours Saturday, 6 hours Sunday. But yeah, I went through 12 gallons of water over the weekend.
I mean, that's great because obviously you're losing a lot because you're getting dehydrated.
And
what a beautiful, that too. And what a beautiful fucking weekend, man. I mean, it was just so spectacular, and I spent all of it in bed. I felt bad. I'm like, fuck, man, I'm missing out. And I really did want to go, but the timing was just so bad. I was like, I literally can't, and I will have a miserable time. So what is the actual point? But yeah, I haven't
missed one in 5 years. So
I know.
We'll go next year.
I know. And I remember I have this very fond memory of doing drugs, and I believe it was in Chicago in 2015. I went to Spring Awakening. I don't know if that's still a thing. Maybe not. And I went there.
I haven't heard of it.
And I just taken a bunch of drugs. They hadn't kicked in yet. And I remember walking into the arena or whatever, festival grounds with my friends, and then just seeing like this girl's lifeless body being carried out. And man, nothing is more of a buzzkill when you're like, I just took probably what she just took, and I don't want to die. And I remember just like everyone, it's like, oons, and then you just see like this group of friends like freaking out with this guy carrying this girl's lifeless body. And then I turn to my friends, and I could see the look on their faces. I'm like, let's rally it up. Time to party. Like, it's going to be okay. Like, because we were all just like, oh, shit, we just took a bunch of crap. But yeah, 5-HTP before really helps. And just kind of, it's like a nice coat of protection over your brain because you're going to do a lot of damage. And sometimes it's fun to do some damage. And the body can regenerate itself, so that's good to know as well. But you just got to kind of, mitigate.
Yeah, I have heard of that stuff. I just forgot about it, and I don't.
Over the counter.
I didn't know what it was called.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna take notes on this date. So if I forget the name of it again, I can just come back and listen to.
Yeah, no, and if you want to message me or Blitz or whatever, like I can always tell it to you. I don't get annoyed with that sort of stuff. It's 5 and then H as in Henry, T as in Tom, P as in Paul. And it's something that you can get at like CVS over the counter. You don't need a prescription. It's literally like a B vitamin for neural health. That's it.
Okay.
But yeah, someone saw me looking like shit one time. They're like, man, you should take some 5-HTP. I'm like, 5-HT who? And they explained it. And then I'm like, oh shit. All right. Good to know. So I've been not using it ever since. I barely party, but you understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys in a few months. Well, more than a few months.
All right. Maybe we'll see you at $199,
right?
Yeah. Ask about $199. It's DJ Hum Sauce, so I need to crowd a little bit. So
when is that?
23rd of June.
23rd of June.
And if anyone gets mad that you asked,
I'm going up.
Don't say I invited you. Go ahead.
Okay. I got to look and see when I leave for Ohio, because I leave for Ohio the last few days of June, but I don't know what exact. I think it might be the 29th.
Okay.
So I'll email Bubba and ask him about DJ Hum Sauce.
Okay. Fantastic.
All right.
See ya. Bye. All right. Let me put you on hold, and we'll get to you. Hello. Who's this?
Hey, it's Dave from West Palm. How are you?
Hey, Dave from West Palm. What's going on?
Well, I listen. I love you, and
Uh-oh.
I know it's Friday, and I want you to go off on a good note. But I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit pissed off right now.
With me?
Yeah.
Okay. What did I do? Is it because I told you to put down the Twinkie and pick up an apple?
No, I've been on hold for an hour and almost 20 minutes.
Oh, shit.
I called in on a topic that you started the show with.
Yeah.
And you've gone through 10 topics.
Yeah.
And literally started taking calls the last like half an hour of the show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think, and again, I'm not trying to bust balls with you. I love you. I love you. But I think your show should be better off on podcasts, because if you're going to go off on an hour and 15-minute rant and a whole diatribe, it's better off on podcast.
Right.
Rather than taking phone calls 30 minutes, the last 30 minutes of the show. Because the reason I called in, the reason I originally called was something you talked about in the first 15 minutes of the show.
I understand. So and it doesn't tell me what order.
Already.
I understand. In my defense, if I may defend myself, I just see people calling. I put them on hold. Sometimes they hang up, and then that line goes live again. And I put it on hold, and and to be fair, sir, this will be a podcast once I complete the show. But yes, I understand. It's a live show. It's a live show. So you're right.
Yeah, but I think it should be a podcast, because if you're not taking calls till the last half hour, it should be a podcast, because you're not interacting live with the audience.
Right.
Now, listen, and I love you. I love the show. I love you. I love the whole entire show.
Thank you.
The reason I was calling it in the first place was to really talk about the topic you were talking about at the top of the show.
And we can return to that.
Was about being offended, and being offended by topic versus being offended by personal attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you from firsthand, from even in high school and even in elementary school, I was attacked by my personal look. I was scrawny. I was a skinny ass guy. I was 100 pounds, 110 pounds. I was scrawny. And I had big, thick Coke bottle glasses. I was a nerd. I was everything that like a elementary school bully, high school bully was looking to go after. Like, I was that guy. Like that was me. And so those personal attacks, it took a lot of abuse with that. And even in college, like, my nickname was Q-Tip in college. And the reason my name was Q-Tip is because I was skinny. Well, I was skinny, and I had a big curly afro hair that was sort of like dirty blonde.
Yeah.
And one of my friends in college said, "You look like a dirty Q-Tip."
Oh,
so, like,
that is
like
hurtful.
that. Like, that whole thing, that whole like personal attack.
Yeah.
When you're being attacked personally, and then I just laughed it off. That became okay. It was a comedy thing. Now I just kind of diverted and I kind of laughed.
Right.
But it's a whole different thing being offended when you're attacked personally than your political beliefs or religious beliefs.
Right.
Like, that's nothing compared to being attacked personally. And I applaud you for like taking, Bubba's, sort of
abuse.
I wouldn't say attacks, because it's not being mean. Mine was mean.
Right.
Mine was being mean.
Yeah, Bubba's
Yours is in love.
good-natured when he calls me a stupid, flat-chested bitch.
Yeah, well, just raisins and like that. Like, that's in love. Like, that's joking in love. But there's a difference between joking in love and joking in hate.
Right.
And there's a huge difference.
Big difference
But
between love
that's
and
what
hate.
I was talking. That's the original reason that I called was in reference to what you first talked about, and then we got 10 topics in.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. That's just what happens. And I wish I could see like your name or who called first. I didn't realize that line 2 was on hold the entire time, and I do sincerely apologize because that is not my intention.
No, I know. I never thought it was your intention. I never thought it was done on purpose.
Right.
It just might be something that, as you go through. Because listen, I know you're learning. I mean,
I am. I can't be perfect.
You've changed, dude.
Pretty close.
I don't mean to call you dude, but you have changed so much.
Yeah.
And improved so much from when you started. So, I believe me. But just thinking that's something you might want to look at in the future.
I am always open for criticism and the opportunity to improve. So thank you.
Don't take that
Dave
the wrong way, Anna.
No.
Don't take that wrong way.
No. I'm very much against being offended, like I mentioned earlier. So I appreciate it and thank you.
Love you.
Love you too.
A great weekend.
Love you right back, Dave. Thank you so much. 813-90-BUBBA. Won't take your call. Just kidding. I will. Hello, who's this?
Anna Hummel, Joe Supermarket.
It's Joe. Joe, I've come to quite like you. Mostly because you've come to quite like me. So it's just kind of like this reciprocal feeling of good nature. But what's going on?
I just broke my fast.
You did?
So
I thought you just broke my back. I'm like, oh, fuck.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm great. You just broke your fast. What are you eating? What you eating, Bubs?
I just had a poppy seed roll and I had some scrambled eggs.
Beautiful. Love it.
Hey, I'm going to have my world famous banana, of course.
A world famous banana. Just like a regular banana, or do you prepare it a certain way?
It's a Guatemalan banana.
Oh,
that's
wow.
All I'm set up for. Those are the best.
We love Guatemalans on this show. What up, Maria?
Yep. I never even knew that Maria was a banana aficionado until,
I don't know if she claims to be a banana aficionado, but she is from Guatemala.
She's the one that taught me because I was eating a banana every day, and I post a daily banana every day on Facebook with some words of wisdom and whatnot.
Yeah.
But one day I noticed on her gram she posted a picture of a banana.
Okay.
So I hit her up. I'm like, yo, do you know about my daily banana on Facebook? And she said, no, she didn't know. So now that's why if you ever notice in the chat, we're posting banana emojis back and forth.
Sometimes when I read the chat, yeah, I do see some banana emojis flying around.
Now you know the backstory.
Oh, Scout! $10, she said, not me. God bless. God bless you. Sorry, Joe.
No worries. I'm congratulations on the $10. That's exciting.
Thank you. Hey, I love me some $10. Absolutely. Thank you, Scout.
It's so funny. Your last caller was talking about going back to the beginning. Because that's initially what went through my mind when I first heard your first topic. You were talking about getting offended.
Yeah.
I learned something in life, and it's very helpful. You were talking about direct and, accusation, like you or using your name, Anna.
Yeah. That hurts.
I found out.
Sometimes.
I found out that if you drop you and your and you use we, us, and our, you get a better result out of everybody because you and yours direct. You and yours attacking the person, not the problem. But if we come together and we, us, and our attack the problem instead of you did this or you did that or you said this, hey, I know we said this, but you think we can go ahead and not say that in the future?
Yeah, I do remember learning iMessages in, I think it was second grade when they said, I feel, versus like you did or, they tried to tell us how to manage our emotions pretty young, but I'm pretty sure that was a long time ago in the 90s, so they probably do it differently now. But,
something my pastor just taught. He said if we could create a space between our thoughts and our actions, a larger space. Some of us have a little space, some of us have a little more. But if we can create he called it a 7-second dump button. If you could just dump out, if we can't dump out things that we say in life, but if you do try to dump it before you say it. I've been dumping a lot. I used to say a lot of wild things in chat, and now I just dump it out before I even say it. And sometimes it just helps just to say, hey, I dumped that out. Just so you know, hey, I had something to say, but you're lucky
didn't need
I
to be said.
You know what I'm saying?
I do that all the time on the
most
show.
Important thing I have to impart on you, and this is something based off of yesterday, and I'm not even going to be, it's not stupid, it's actually wisdom. So I had learned in church 2 weeks ago that goodbye, the word goodbye, is like a shorter version. It initially came from God be with ye.
Oh, shit. I've been saying
so
goodbye
if you
my
say
whole
goodbye,
life.
Then you're kind of saying God be with ye.
Yeah. Well, fuck.
I'm just saying that's where that, so
Well, I don't know. I don't know how. Later, dude. Is that how I need to greet people on the way out? Salutations.
Blessings.
I don't even want to say that. I don't want to
Why?
upset
Blessings
anyone.
don't have to come from God. I mean, all blessings do come from God, but
Okay.
somebody
Well,
could be blessed.
it's a gray area. It's a gray area, and I just don't feel comfortable. So later, dude. I guess.
Hey, have a wonderful day. It's been a blessing talking to you, and I can't wait to talk
Have
to
a
you
great
again.
weekend. Enjoy your Guatemalan banana.
You too, and God bless.
And later, dude. 813-90 Bubba. The line is open for all sorts of any sort of criticisms. Listen, no one takes criticism better than me, and I do pride myself on being the best fucking sport on this show. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows. Dan is good too, and Lummy just has to take a beating every day. But you know, I do pride myself on the fact that like I can take a joke, obviously, but I can also take criticism because oftentimes I'm not the smartest person in the room or the person that knows something about, the business. Yeah, I haven't been in the radio for 40 years like Bubba. 37. I'm rounding up. But I am always open to learning new things or adjustments. I'm not offended by that at all. And I am the most judgmental person that I know. So if I am going to be dishing it out, I should also be able to take a dose of it myself. And that's fine. And I appreciate anybody. And the way that Dave called in from West Palm handled it perfectly. He started off with, hey, I love you. You're great. But you could work on a few things, bitch. And I go, okay, I'm all ears. Tell me, And I feel like that makes you a more likable person when people can come to you with a problem. And you're willing to listen to them and really hear them digest it and either then go, yeah, I will change that, or nah, no thanks, but I appreciate the input. So feel free to call in 813-90 Bubba. Hello, who's this? Talk to me.
Miss Anna.
Mr. Man.
Would you please be my unhealthy fat? Because I would like you hanging out on my body.
Okay. Thank you. I have a boyfriend. Thank you. 813-90 Bubba. So many things to discuss. And I mean, some of the things that we talked about weren't even on my list of things I wanted to talk about. I do have a new crush. And it's on a girl. And I am blown away. And I know maybe some of you already know who it is because I was singing her praises yesterday. And you heard it here first. So mark the tape, June 2nd, my show. Casey, I almost said Anthony. Casey DeSantis is going to win that motherfucker, Ron DeSantis, that seat in the White House. That bitch knows how to work. Holy shit. Blown away. Absolutely blown away. Especially someone who is a broadcaster. And not that I do a lot of public speaking. I don't really count this as public speaking because I can't see your face. It's a lot different just talking into a mic and just kind of knowing people are listening versus talking to a room full of people that are staring at you. I encourage you all to look at there's a video of Casey DeSantis and Ron, and they're in Iowa. I'm sure many of you already saw it. And this bitch she is schmoozing the crowd like I've never seen before. She's making jokes. I do wish Ron would loosen up a little bit. She was making some jokes about him being a gas station connoisseur, and he didn't even, crack a smile. I'm like, Ron, lighten up a little bit. She did fucking phenomenally. There was no ums. She's not just like a dumb housewife or anything like that. She is a mother, a cancer survivor. She is absolutely stunningly beautiful. She's gorgeous, great fashion sense, great hair. And she knows how to fucking work. And it is very hard to be and sound convincingly relatable, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys know or remember or follow Jennifer Lawrence. She's an actress, Hollywood actress. She would kind of got the reputation for being like the relatable chick next door who's like just like your best friend, but it's like super famous. Like she would be doing an interview, or it would be like after a red carpet, whatever, and they'd be interviewing her and they'd ask her questions. She's like, I'm sorry, I just took a shot at tequila. I don't even know. She's like, I just saw Brad Pitt. Like she would mark out like as if she were just a regular person. And she's really, really, really good on like late night shows. Like she sounds really relatable. Her laugh is really, it sounds like a genuine laugh. It's like, I don't know if I don't want to say it's an act, but she convinces people that she is super relatable. And that's really, really fucking rare because most people just sound like, they might be polite or they're kind of like a little rigid or, it's awkward talking to a group of people with, or a man sitting across from you that you don't really know with a live audience and they're just staring at you. To come across like you're just a regular person and you're comfortable in your own skin is very hard to convey. And I can't even really do it like public speaking wise. Casey DeSantis fucking nailed it. She is winning over the crowd. She's talking about being a mom, the kids, and, she wasn't talking about the fuck you, the left. Nothing. She's talking about her own family. She's talking about her own struggle with stuff. And, thank God for grandma for watching the kids. Like, this bitch could pay anybody to watch the kids. It's not. But she is talking to the average American person she goes, I know that you guys have busy lives. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. Just her cadence. She also has like somewhat of not a deep voice, but it's like it's not super high pitched feminine voice, which is perfect because I think that's what you want for someone who sounds grounded. Kind of like the Elizabeth Holmes thing. She wanted to sound more dominant. Not that Casey DeSantis sounds dominant, but she just sounds like not a dumb fucking airhead bimbo. Just the way that she was addressing the crowd, she was so comfortable talking to them. Which, okay, Ron needs to be comfortable talking in front of a crowd because he's the one that's running for office. But I don't know I need to like look up stats on her or what she's been doing her whole life or, the pedigree that she comes from. But you don't just like walk out and start talking like that. I'm like, is this like a Bill and Hill thing? That's what I thought initially. Not that, Ron DeSantis is going to start raping kids on, Little St. James or whatever. But I'm like, does she have political aspirations? Because she's fucking murdering right now to work a crowd like that. And she wasn't using a lot of filler words. Like I noticed a lot of stuff like that. Her body language was really relaxed. She's doing pregnant pauses. She's talking about her family. She's kind of poking fun at her husband. Like she's doing all the things that a normal person does, but it's so hard to manufacture in a really like abnormal situation, like talking in front of a group of people. Like it's easy maybe to convey that to like your best friend, but it's really hard to convey that to a group of people when it's on camera. So, and she is doing that. And I was just like watching her yesterday and I was like, oh, this, whenever someone sends you a clip or something like, fuck, I have to watch this 5-minute clip for work. And I'm like, It felt like it was 20 seconds and it was over. I'm like, I want more. Or I want more Casey. She is so beautiful. She's stunning. She is poised. She is relatable. She is, she didn't have that like high pitch. She wasn't saying like normal talking points from the left or the right. Wasn't, the right, the left is saying shit about like we be inclusive, bullshit like that. And yay. And the right is saying things like, like they're trying to kill our kids and fucking shove this shit down the throat. Yay. She's not doing that. She's talking about herself. She's making herself, thanking the crowd for coming out. I know that you guys have busy schedules. I know that money is tight. Like, and it's not even what she was saying, but how she was saying it. I was so impressed by her. And I was like, this bitch is the golden ticket. Ron, step aside and let your wife talk. She's not dumb. She's not a bimbo. She's not like, oh my God, I'm like just so proud of him. He's so amazing. Like, we really support him. She had her own fucking ideas. And she was going on. I mean, I only saw a clip of it. She probably went on for like 20 minutes. It's not easy to do fucking 20 minutes of stand up. She's fucking killing it. The only problem was like Ron needs to be cracking a smile a little bit more because it's really weird when everybody else is laughing and Ron is just like deadpan behind her. And I was really like zooming in on his face. I'm like, Ron, lighten up. It's okay. And so she was giving props to her husband, but also, kind of making fun of him a little bit. It was so fucking good. And I was like, oh my God. And at first I was like, she's going to get him the ticket to the White House. And then I was like, wait a second. Does she want to be in the White House? I mean, like Hillary Clinton style in the White House. So I honestly would not be shocked if, 15 years from now, Casey DeSantis is running for office. I wouldn't be surprised because that bitch knows how to work, man. She has the charisma. She has the charisma that Ron kind of doesn't a little bit. It's a little bit of a reversal situation with the Bill and Hill thing. Because Bill had all the charisma and obviously, aspirations to be in charge and rape kids, and adults. But, Hillary did not have any of that charisma. It was very apparent she was a demon from hell. Not saying that that's Ron DeSantis, but Ron just seems a little bit on the rigid end of things, and Casey really she can really soften it up. She seems warm and welcoming, and maybe it's a fucking act, and I'm getting duped, but she is awesome. Awesome. Forget about even just I'm not even talking about politics. I'm just talking about delivery and being able to convey that sort of vulnerability, relatability, kind of coming down from, the high horse of living in the governor's mansion to go, I get it. Money's tight. When people talk to you like that, you're like, yeah, money is tight. Fuck. Money is not tight for that bitch, okay? She's going to Japan dressed like a goddamn geisha, okay? But she is making it seem like she gets your plight. And maybe she does. Maybe she's been, money's been tight before. Probably not. But whatever. She is just making you think she knows what it's like. But very impressed by her, because I just thought she was a trophy wife. I was like, is she going to be like a Melania, but without a Slovakian accent? No, not at all. Very articulate, very smart, very good at public speaking. Seems like a strong woman, knows what she wants, who she's backing. Doesn't seem highly emotional. Has not a deep voice, but again, just kind of like a voice like mine, not too high, not too low, just right. But I could not get enough Casey. I want to say Anthony DeSantis. She is phenomenal, and I do think that she's going to be a major player. Because as Ron gets more and more in the spotlight, so will she. And the more that she shines, I really feel like she's going to reach out to, maybe more of the women base, maybe more of the younger people. And as someone who isn't like a Bible-thumping crazy evangelical either, she doesn't strike me as one of those either, where she just seems like she's more invested in American values versus Christian values. So I just think that Ron DeSantis hit the jackpot with this bitch because she's got it all. She has got it all. I love Casey DeSantis just because she's such a good power play. She makes him look so fucking good. Like a beautiful wife, gave him 3 beautiful kids, got it together, great hair, cancer survivor, young, in her 40s. Mostly people are in their fucking 80s. She's just killing it. Stunning, beautiful, great fashion sense. And can schmooze a crowd. So, big fan. Hello, who's this?
Hi, Anna. It's Mark.
Mark the Frog. I think you might be my last call for the day, Mark.
I just really enjoy your show, and I'm watching in my truck on my laptop live, so I figured I'd give you a call.
Thank you so much for calling in. Are you excited for the weekend? Do you have anything planned? Are you delivering potatoes?
No, I'm in Summerside, Prince Edward Island. I'm at the lobster plant.
Lobster, got it.
I'm waiting. They're loading lobster in my truck. I'm 40,000 pounds of lobster tails.
Amazing.
And I gotta bring.
Love
I gotta bring
sea
that to
insects.
Montreal.
Yeah. Yep.
It's 14 hours drive.
Yeah. Lobster's expensive, I hear. I've never had lobster before. I have no idea what it tastes like. But people like it. People love it. It's
about $600,000 Canadian money. The
oh my God! Yeah. I still don't get the whole sea insect thing, the crustacean deal with mussels and scallops and crabs and lobster. It just seems like they're insects that live in the ocean and then people eat them. And that's strange to me because they seem like unsightly creatures. No?
I eat it once in a while. I'm not a big fan, but I'll eat it once in a while.
Right.
But it's quite expensive. So.
Yeah, sure. The sea insects are so expensive. They are, though.
So, yeah,
crabs.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I got to drive 14 hours, and then I'll be home tomorrow afternoon sometime, I guess.
Okay, well, drive safe, man. All right? And thank you for calling in.
No problem.
Thank you.
You have a great weekend.
GB, thank you. Can I say GB? Would that be, if I didn't say but I just said GB, would that be? I don't know. I'll bring it up to Bubba. See how he feels about the matter on Monday. I got to get the fuck out of here. Just been rambling for 112 minutes. Wow. Sorry. That was almost 2 hours. Sorry to, not Dave. Dave from West Palm, who was on hold for an hour and 20 minutes. I appreciate you. And I will be better about taking calls in the future. Will I? I hope so. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you Monday morning. Don't drink and drive. Be safe. Spend time with your loved ones, friends, family. Eat whole foods. Get sun. Get some fucking sleep. And intermittent fast. God bless.